Donkey Kong Bananza recently came out and it has quickly become one of my favorite games of all time. Being able to break just about anything and having access to an insane movement kit on my journey to the planet core. To 100% it, I need to collect all 777 unique bananas, complete all 6 Bonanza rehearsals, collect all 110 music discs, collect all 696 fossils, and deal with one sassy little girl. Now I've played this game a lot, so I'm gonna try to achieve 100% in under 8 hours, something that no one else has ever done before. I start off as DK in the mines of Ingot Isle, and already I find my first banana. I'm still hearing "oh banana" in my sleep with how many times that's played. I grab the other 2 bananas in the mine section and make my way into the main area of Ingot Isle. One thing you'll be seeing me do a lot throughout the run is surfing on a chunk. This is one of the fastest ways of moving around, and it creates some very broken movement later on. I go down a tunnel and whistle to the odd rock, and I reluctantly agree to bring it with me. There are 17 different areas in this game called layers that I will need to fully complete, but there's nothing else I can do in Ingot Isle till later, so I dive down the sinkhole to the Lagoon. Lagoon's one of the larger layers of the game, and it's the first one to have fossils. These can be literally anywhere, even hidden completely underground, so memorizing where all of them were was one of the hardest parts of preparing for this. Even though there's a lot to do here in Lagoon, my main objective right now is to unlock the Elephant Bonanza, which will make collecting fossils much faster later on. So for the first few layers, I skipped mostly everything and only grabbed the fossils and bananas that are on the route to the sinkhole to the next layer. Here I skipped the long water puzzle in Lagoon where you uncork 3 waterfalls by doing a large surf jump over this gap. Then I grab the Kong Elder's disc and return it to him. Odd Rock turns into Pauline, and together we obtain our first Bonanza, Kong. The Kong Elder tells us that in order to get back to the surface, we need to get to the planet core, but we need to get there before the big bad void does. With the Kong Bananza acquired, I can now one-shot all basic terrain levels, and I can even break concrete. He makes getting fossils much easier since I can break the rock around them instantly now. I make my way into my first challenge room, of which I need to collect all 3 bananas. Most of the challenge courses are very easy with the Bonanzas, so I'll only bring up the notable or interesting ones from now on. After every 5 bananas that I collect, I get a skill point to use in upgrading skills. These are very powerful early on, and I'll be prioritizing upgrading banana energy for long Bonanza times and faster drum beats so I spend less time activating my Bonanza transformation. One great thing about Kong is that he has very powerful chunk throws, so I can snipe some far away fossils by aiming a chunk at them. One very easy boss fight later, I do a funny dance with Pauline, then head to the next layer. In each of the tunnels, I make sure to grab as much gold as I can because I will be needing a lot of it later, specifically for one purchase from this menace Grumpy Kong of 120,000 gold. That is monkey robbery. Onto Hilltop, I again immediately make my way towards the end, only grabbing convenient fossils and bananas on the way. I grab the Quiztone and Cranky Kong Banana, who are both in most layers. I keep grabbing fossils, then eventually make my way to the Thorny Hill Speed Surf Challenge course. Now this normally wouldn't be an important course, but I made a big mistake here and completely forgot to get the 3rd banana past the wall at the end of the course. I don't realize this for a long time, and it comes back to bite me later. I pay this Fractone 3,000 gold to break open this rock and head down to the canyon layer. This layer is very annoying to 100% because literally half of the bananas and fossils are underground or in some random cave, making it very easy to get lost. I make a quick stop at the fossil shop and buy the traction bridges for an outfit banana, and here I do a trick jump called an aerial fast air turf surf. Yeah, what a name, I know. I didn't name them. Whenever you see me jumping really far with a chunk, it is usually because of this technique. I enter my first of many battle courses, each of which have 1 banana in them. I then try to get this fossil at the top of canyon. Please? Please? Oh my. I lose a bit of time having to try again for the fossil, time that I do not have much to spare, so I need to stop making mistakes like this because they add up fast. I defeat Stomp and Clomper, then head to the next layer, the Divide. This layer is very small, making it easy to complete, but I now have a very important choice. I can choose between going to Forest or the Freezer layer. I have to do both eventually, but I go Forest first because it has the far more useful Ostrich Bonanza. In the Forest layer, I navigate my way through the poison and thorns to the Ostrich Elder's home. I bring one of the 2 record pieces and do a new trick called a disc dupe. By dropping the disc in a 2-frame window as the disc is swinging into the pedestal, we save a bit of time by duping the disc, so I only have to get 1 disc piece for each elder now. The Ostrich Bonanza is very broken in this game. I can now fly across pretty much any gap by spamming flutter and chunk swinging as I'm flying to preserve height. As I'm destroying the poison bulbs to lower the poison and collecting more bananas and fossils, I finally find my first music disc. Discs randomly spawn when you kill an enemy, and they have a pretty low drop rate, making getting 110 of them very annoying because I have to grind them towards the end. In the lower half of Forest, I do my first Fragmentone puzzle for 2 bananas, where I need to lead 2 baby Fractones back to their parent. These big dumb babies are very annoying and cause me a lot of frustration. Oh, he like bounced off the edge, why? I then make it to the end of forest and fight the plant boss. This fight is pretty cool, and I can actually grab fossils in the middle of the fight. In the next layer junction, the game intends for you to go back to the divide and do both freezer and forest so you can raise a bridge here. But with the busted ostrich, I take a more efficient route and just fly across without needing the bridge. I finally find Void, and he runs away to previous layers while I chase him and fight him. Each of these fights have pretty cool methods to kill Void quickly, and I can even grab a fossil during this first fight. Void gets away after the third fight, and I then go to the resort layer. Resort is visually my favorite layer in the game. Watermelon's an S tier fruit, and this layer has a big one. Instead of going on the long path using liftoff ore and getting to the watermelon from above, I skip all of that and just climb up, because here I don't care about resort. I want what's in the next layer. In Tempest, I immediately go down and fight Blusterwing, and I grab a record piece to set up for another disc dupe. The Elephant Elder tells me that the Banandium root is waiting in the planet core, and it will grant me any wish. I learned the Elephant Bananza from the Elder, and boy, I'll tell you, this Bananza can suck. He can suck up terrain into his trunk and then pull out the chunks to throw or surf on. I've been saving a bunch of skill points until now, so I can immediately upgrade the elephant, and now I can truly start the 100% grind. Being able to suck fossils that are far away or underground is a game changer, and I'll be clearing out much more of each layer as I pass through now, though I still have to come back to most layers for the post game, so I won't be getting everything yet. I finished gathering all the bananas and fossils in the sublayer, and fight that bird that I hate for a second time. Another benefit of the elephant is that it can instantly finish most shifty smash challenges, making them a joke now. Even in the battle challenges, the elephant can literally just kill all the enemies by sucking. I clear out most of the final sublayer by abusing the elephant, and showcase again how broken the ostrich is by just flying to the end of this challenge course, and finish off with the final Blusterwing fight. The next layer is landfill, but even though I have the elephant now, and I could easily suck up all the fossils now, I do a clip at the top of the layer to go out of bounds all the way to the bottom. We skip this layer now because it would be better to come back when I have the golden elephant skill later. And yeah, the elephant basically insta-kills Pika Bruiser here. I then skip racing, then head to the Radiance layer. Radiance is home of the final disc dupe of the run, and I then learn the Snake Bananza from the Elder, allowing me to gain height very quickly. The Snake Bananza is useful, but it is by far my least favorite Bananza to use. The charge jump and glare abilities feel very janky to use, and sometimes they just won't come out. I head down to Snake Tower, then use the Snake and Elephant to clear all the bananas and fossils. Check out this very hard Poppy fight that everyone definitely struggles with here. Now, if you haven't noticed, every boss fight in this game is very easy. And fun fact, since we skipped the freezer layer, we actually never do the Poppy Kong fight or freezer boss fight in those layers because they despawn once you pass junction. After upgrading the elephant skills, I've been putting points into punch power, so I'll have maxed it by the end of Radiance. This helps a lot with breaking the concrete faster for this extra rare fossil, and for this Blumentone, who I need to let light shine on to get a banana. Now that I have a bit more gold, I start getting the Growtone bananas for each layer by feeding them a few thousand gold. I finish clearing out most of Radiance and defeat Grumpy Kong, so I can now move on to Groove. In Groove, I lose Pauline and have to get her back, so I can't use any Bonanzas. There's two more clips in this layer, one for this gate, and one for the final melody door with another chunk clip. The game only checks for the final music source, allowing me to skip most of the layer and come back to it when I have Bonanzas again. I then get Pauline back and dive down to one of the hardest layers to 100%. Feast. Here, all the muck and oil does massive damage, and the most annoying fossils in the game are all here. Many of the fossils require you to throw salt to free them from muck, and whoever programmed the salt dissolving did not do a very good job, because it sometimes takes like 10 throws or something crazy to get the fossils. To get to the boss, I need to build a giant burger by pressing 5 different burger switches located throughout the layer. Normally in a speedrun, you could actually skip all of this by clipping out of bounds, but there is an exclusive banana that spawns on the burger that I have to collect, so I still need to hit all the burger switches. Once I've hit all 5, and many more muck fossils later, I hit the final burger switch that completes the massive burger. I clean up the rest of the main area, and I just wanted to mention that this Fragmentone puzzle is very annoying. I get the bananas that spawn the giant burger, then dive down to Lower Feast. This sublayer still has plenty of annoying fossils. Like, I literally had to lab out where to stand for this one fossil, otherwise these enemies will just miss the fossil for a minute straight. The boss of this layer is a very cool phase skip you can do by switching to elephant and throwing salt after each damage gate, making for a very fast fight. Moving on to Forbidden Layer, the gimmick here is that you're supposed to pay these fractones an unreasonable amount of gold so that you can build bridges by throwing chunks. But with the power of the ostrich, I can easily fly across without needing to pay them. There's a bunch of fossils in this area that are floating in crystal, and I can get them quickly by Kong throwing chunks at them. There's this one banana here that's really annoying to get, where you need to fly under an island and switch to snake for a snake jump to go through this small gate. It's very easy to miss the gate, and sometimes the gate just doesn't work at all, so you're supposed to build a bridge to get under here. I finish most of Forbidden, then go to the last Void fight, throwing chunks and jumping across to quickly finish him. But after defeating Void, King K. Rool comes out of nowhere, and now I have to go to the real Planet Core and fight him now. Planet Core has a bunch of small areas with long minecart sections in between. I collect everything on most of the islands, but I do mess up with this fossil while flying across Neki Skyway. The egg bomb somehow missed the fossil, but I hit a clean backup strap by throwing an explosive gold chunk back at it. Halfway through Planet Core, I fight Stop and Clopper for a second time. Then at the outfit shop, I buy some outfits with the fossils I collected so far. An important one being the soggy cravat tie, which will allow me to walk on lava later. I defeat each wave in the Kremlin Coliseum, then skip the final minecart by flying over to King K. Rool. This fight turns into a Mario Party minigame because the fastest way to damage K. Rool is by mashing dive on top of him. There is no cap to how fast you can dive, so I literally have spent over a month practicing in Mario Party Jamboree just to get better at mashing. With all that practice, I can now mash my controller at around 17 or 18 button presses a second. And that is the game. Or is it? I ride up to the surface fighting K. Rool on an auto-scroller, then travel through New Donk City on the surface to fight K. Rool again. Here, since I don't have the zebra still, and I can't run on the crumble bridges, I have to throw gold chunks at the rising lava snakes to create gold that I can stand on, and then jump from snake to the arena. One more Mario Party minigame later, and I have beaten the main story 3 hours in. Comparing against my splits, my pace is looking pretty good, but I still have to go back to every single layer, one of which I still haven't even been to yet, and I need to beat all 6 Bonanza rehearsals, and I still have to farm for music disc and gold. Not to mention that I still don't even know that I'm missing the banana in Hilltop. After the credits, the game actually automatically gives you any Bonanzas you skipped, so I get the Zebra Bonanza for free here, which is massive. Not because it's good, it's actually the worst Bonanza in the game by far. Even turf surfing is faster than the Zebra charge speed, but instead because I get to listen to the bangin' Zebra theme. Zebra is pretty good for general movement, so I will be using him a little bit. In the game, 3 months have not passed since I've defeated K. Rool, and Pauline has gone off on her own to work on her singing career, but she's been having trouble working on a new song, so she wants to come with me to talk to the elders for some inspiration. But I ignore her for now because there's still bananas that need to be eaten. Here, another example of how good the elephant is for the hide and seek fractones. For each of them, I have to find 4 fractones that are hidden in a small area in most layers. I then talk to the getaway fractone so I can change outfits at his wardrobe. I put on some clothing for outfit bananas, and I also put on Pauline's gold mining gear, which doubles all gold income, which will be very important for the 120k gold grind. One thing I've been doing in most layers is talking to the chip exchange banana for 1 banana. You actually only need 1 banana from each of these guys to count for the 777 total unique bananas, so buying more than 1 banana is a waste of gold. I then talk to Grumpy Kong and pay him 15,000 gold. That's on top of the 120,000 I still have to pay him later. And I do the bunch of battles and boss rush challenges. The bunch of battles has 13 waves of enemies, and it's important to not fail the timer, otherwise I have to start the whole thing over from the beginning. The boss rush, I fight 5 of the main bosses back to back, but it's pretty easy with the amount of skill points I have by this point. I clear out the rest of the bananas in Ingot, including this dumb Fragmentum banana. Then I hit the warp gong to fast travel back to any layer. I still need to come back to Ingot for Grumpy later, so I'll come back once I have more gold. Now's the part of the run where I go back to previous layers, getting all the bananas and fossils that I skipped. I first go back to Forest to start the cleanup process, and here's my favorite challenge course in the game. All the barrels actually make this course pretty annoying, but this course has one of my favorite songs of any game, so it gets the pass. This course is also a good showcase of how we can speed up even the 2D areas of the game with surf jumps. Finishing up the rest of Forest, I can now access the first Bonanza rehearsal. Ostrich rehearsal is very slow and boring because most of it is just gliding from island to island. But this time it wasn't boring because I was an idiot and spent my remaining skill points on a barely useful skill, when I should have bought glide level 2 to improve my glide ability. And I think glide level 2 is intended to be mandatory here. Each rehearsal has several bananas that you can go out of your way for that are a bit more challenging, and each rehearsal also has 5 balloons hidden throughout that I need to pop to earn a music disc. And if you didn't realize by the name Ostrich Rehearsal, I am locked to only the Ostrich Bananza the whole time. This area actually shows how useful the soggy cravat tie can be, since I can do some major skips with the lava now, but on the bouncy green area is where I get punished for not having glide level 2. This very last glide from the fan seems to be barely impossible, but for some reason when you jump into the fan instead of gliding into it, that allowed me to get some extra height so I can make it across. I finished the rest of Ostrich Rehearsal, and the last things in Forest to do are to buy all the outfits in the fossil shop and collect the smashing stats banana from smashing enough thorns in the area. I don't need the outfits from the shop, but I have to spend every single fossil in each layer for a banana in the museum later on. Next, I go back to Resort. I skipped basically everything on my first trip, so the cleanup on this layer takes a while. One of the zebra's abilities is that he can run on water, so he's actually pretty useful here. Besides a couple annoying bananas here and there, Resort isn't too much of an issue. Well, except the fact that the worst challenge course in the game is located here. The Ice Surf Switcheroo Challenge Course. Oh boy, do I hate this course. I have to precisely hit the switcheroo blocks in a way that funnels the ice into each container 3 times. It doesn't help that DK's punches take out a seemingly random amount of block, and if the ice takes too long to slide down, it literally despawns spawns. Like, why? A very frustrating course to do fast. Finishing this headache-inducing course, I actually go with a bonus course to farm a bit of gold now, since I have the double gold Pauline outfit. There's a bonus course in every layer, but for some reason, this one and Forbidden's give like triple the gold of all the others. So these two are the only ones we farm. Finishing up the rest of the resort and buying out the fossil shop, I then go to Tempest. Tempest is very important to do now because I finally have enough bananas for the elephant rehearsal, which unlocks the golden elephant ability. This will turn the terrain that DK is sucking off golden, and combined with Pauline's double gold outfit will be the best way to farm gold. The elephant rehearsal is my favorite one. Since we're the elephant, we always have a storage of chunks to pull out for surfing and trick jumping, and almost every puzzle can be cheesed by just going over or around. I actually discovered this jump here, where you go around this wall, skipping the enemy fight here. I collect every banana in the rehearsal and pop all the balloons for the music disc, then I'm able to finally purchase the golden elephant skill. During the cleanup of Tempest, I make sure to suck up some lava here for the smashing stat banana and Tempest. Most of the smashing stat bananas we get naturally by just clearing out the layer, but there are a couple we need to farm for. Like in the next layer, Lagoon, I have to suck up water here with the elephant for smashing stats. It's important to suck off the moving water, as for whatever reason sucking up the whole lagoon doesn't count as water. In Lagoon, I complete the Kong rehearsal, a pretty standard area where you kind of just punch everything to move on, but there are some cool strats for the enemy side rooms to kill them quickly. There's a lot that I skipped in my first run through of Lagoon, so it takes a while cleaning up the rest of the collectibles. And again, it's super easy to miss a fossil or banana here with how much is going on. Like, look how many random underground fossils there are here. I'll know if I miss a fossil at the end of the layer once I get to the shop and can't buy everything, but for bananas I have to lose time and check the menu to see if I miss any, which I want to try to avoid. Completing Lagoon, I go back to Hilltop, go right past the door where I skipped a banana earlier. Like, come on, it even shows a missing banana on the doormat. I clear out the rest of Canyon, and since I skipped the Grumpy fight here the first go around, there's now a key just floating here I can pick up. So now I don't have to fight Grumpy at all here. I fight the mixer boss for his banana drop, and then I clear at Divide and fall down the sinkhole to Freezer since I still don't have the warp for that layer yet. Freezer takes the longest of any post-game layer because I never came here in the first place. There's also many annoying underground fossils and a ton of challenge and battle courses I still need to complete. Thankfully though, I have the soggy cravat tie, which is very useful in this layer because there's a lot of lava. However, Freezer has the hardest and longest rehearsal, the zebra rehearsal. There are 5 timed obstacle courses that I need to run through as the zebra, and I need to clear each section with 20 seconds or more to get every banana. The timer is easy to beat on all of them except the switcheroo block section. Of course it's the switcheroo blocks. The timer is pretty tight here, and the balloon in this section is very frustrating to get. Instead of trying to run in the middle of the spike ball storm here to create a bridge for the balloon, I go on the side, then jump to the balloon. I'll take that minor time loss instead of getting stun locked by the spike balls and losing over a minute. I finish getting the rest of the collectibles in Freezer, then warp back to racing layer. Now normally for the script here, I would just write something like, I got all the bananas here that I moved on. But this layer is the home of Rambi Rumble, a race against Diddy where we ride a rhino 3 laps around a track. I spent over 20 hours in this dumb rhino race getting the fastest time in the world. You should check out that video by the way. So I'm gonna talk about Rambi Rumble. The controls are terrible. There's no drifting and the rhino turns very wide. And there's only one checkpoint in the whole track and it's in the dead center. We just need to make sure to go around it 3 times and make sure not to skip it by cutting a turn too tight. Rambi can use liftoff ore to fly up and across gaps, but this doesn't speed us up unless we actually touch the liftoff ore. We charge liftoff ore by breaking terrain, with the gold being the main way to get charged. The first turn is the hardest of the race. I turn in a specific way so I break some of the glass at the start for liftoff ore charge, then I get caught in this wall for a bit. I use some liftoff ore, and as I'm sliding off the wall, I barely clip the liftoff ore to gain a speed boost. This allows me to cross the gap on the first turn, even though I have next to 0 charge. I break the gold after the first turn, and I keep jumping as I move along to preserve my speed. The next 2 laps I have more liftoff charge, so I save time by going up and over to the center wall, and I grab the gold over the finish line for more charge. Okay, that was actually really clean. Oh shit. 33. I get 33 seconds on my first race, an incredible time. In fact, there's only one other person my rival Side-Eye has even beaten that time before. But the first race was just to unlock a barrel. Now I have to do the race again, but with more obstacles on it this time for Diddy's banana. Though even with the extra obstacles, I can still do the same strat for this race. Ugh, okay, sorry about the rant. After racing, I go back to Radiance for the collectibles there and the snake rehearsal. Snake rehearsal is my least favorite because I'm stuck playing as the dumb snake the whole time. Like, look how slow he moves. There isn't too much of a note here besides a cool soggy cravat tie skip, and one of the only uses of meteor punch in the whole run, but exhaustion was really starting to hit me at this point. Over 6 hours of focus while constantly checking the route on my other monitor, combined with the fact that playing as the snake feels as boring as being forced to sit through church every Sunday by my mom as a kid, I was making mistakes I shouldn't be making at this point. After slowly hopping my way through the rest of the rehearsal, I got back to clearing out the rest of the layers. At the bottom of Radiance, I go on a detour to suck off some extra crystal for the smashing stat banana here, and in Forbidden layer I farm some passage stone for a smashing stat banana. Also in Forbidden, I talk to Grumpy for a post-game banana. Planet Core is tricky in the revisit now because there's now a post-game Kremlin crew fight where Stompaclopper once was. The spiky black enemies will only die from an explosion from a gold chunk, so I just scrounge around the arena for the whole fight. Now that I've completed all the Bonanza rehearsals, I can now do the final rehearsal by talking to the Great Harmonial and going inside. And I make sure to come inside with at least 1 apple juice for a revive, because it's actually very easy to take a lot of damage here. There's once again 5 balloons hidden that I need to collect for a music disc, and this time I can use all of the Bonanzas I want. I usually struggle in the last section with the falling barrels, but this time I did manage to get a clean run without taking a hit. Pauline talks to the 5 elders and finally learns what to do for the song she's been making, and I talked to this Eling after the rehearsal for an easily missable music disc. Now by this point I've collected most of the collectibles for 100%, but I now need to farm for 120,000 gold and the rest of the music discs. I first go back to Feast to start the music disc grind. For completing the final rehearsal, I unlock Pauline's Diva dress, which doubles the drop rate of music discs. Putting that on will help me a lot here. I farm for disc in the City Smash challenge course. First I actually do the course for the 3 bananas, and then after starting over, I snake jump up and run past a large group of Wallopoids. These guys have a much higher drop rate for music disc than most enemies, so I can farm disc faster here by killing them over and over. With good luck, hopefully, at least a couple discs will spawn, then I start the course over and repeat. I repeat this cycle about 50 times until I have at least 100 music discs, and with the extra Banandium chips I've been farming as well, I can buy the rest of the music discs for 100 chips each at the chip exchange. I then move to landfill because it's finally time for the gold grind. With the golden elephant skill that I unlocked earlier from the elephant rehearsal, and the golden mining gear equipped on Pauline that doubles all gold, I start from the top of landfill and suck my way down in circles. You might want to look away, by the way, if you get motion sick. While I'm farming gold, I multitask and grab all the bananas and fossils on the way down. This is part of the reason we skip all the landfill in the first trip. Everything is underground, so this was a layer I had to practice a lot to learn where everything was. Even after I've sucked up all the fossils and gotten the bananas, I still have to reset the terrain and farm gold a second time from the top. Once I finally have 120,000 gold, I go back to Ingot to turn it all into that swindler Grumpy Kong. Grumpy Kong builds a statue of DK out of solid gold, and the only reason I do all of this was for 1 banana. Just 1 banana on the top of the statue. Thanks, Grumpy Kong. I still need about 30,000 more gold, so I reset terrain while sucking off DK until I have enough. The golden statue is actually worth more than any other gold, so at least Grumpy Kong was good for something. There's 1 more Growtone I need to feed still, and I want to show you this. This is completely unedited, by the way. Oh, maybe I think you're supposed to get that one, actually. That's true. That's why I feel so jank. Zebra, zebra, zebra. Peak gameplay, true. I clear out the post-game bananas in Junction, then warp to the final layer I need collectibles from. Well, it would be the final area if I wasn't still missing that banana in Hilltop, which I still don't even know about. I first go down each of the music corridors that I skipped earlier, this time with Kong so I can break the concrete now. There's some sneaky fossils in the disco balls, and I free all the groover tones from their spots. After paying Grumpy Kong another 20,000 gold, he builds a giant speaker, and I get a banana from the groover tones. I talk to Poppy for her banana, and go in the museum. And interestingly, I'm actually forced to come to the museum twice because they put a fossil here. Clearing out the rest of Groove, I finally spend my fossils in the final fossil shop of the game, and I buy the remaining music disc I still need with the extra chips I got from the disc farm. I then go back to the museum to get my glorious reward of 1 single banana for collecting and spending all the fossils in the game. The timer is quickly approaching 8 hours, and this was the point where I realized I was still missing a banana somewhere. Hilltop, what the fuck, Hilltop? What number is it? 10. I still had to complete 1 more challenge course in Groove, but after that I immediately warp back to Hilltop. Wait, it's a challenge course banana? What the fuck? The professional forgotter. How did I miss a banana in the challenge course? I don't think I've ever done that before, actually. I swear, didn't I jump over there? Wait, that's not it. Not the right one. Wait, which one is it? Which one is it? Oh, it wasn't 10. I thought it was 10. 19, I thought it was 19. I swear it was 10. Yeah, I did read number 10 earlier, but it was for the wrong layer, being the banana and Groove that I just collected. It's another challenge course banana. Oh my god. Oh yeah, it's missing a banana at the bottom. I can't believe I forgot a challenge course banana. There it is. Time. Check the save file, check the save file. 3 stars, and there it is. That is 100% completion of Donkey Kong Bananza in under 8 hours, which to my knowledge is a world first.